What it do? What it do, family? Rise and shine, Kaylin. Rise and shine, DeWanda. What's up with you? Excellent yesterday, by the way. I did see that you did another live, and I wasn't able to check that out yet, but I'm gonna check that one out when I get off. That was an excellent job, man, that you did yesterday, DeWanda. That was unreal. I love how you presented that. What's up? What's up? Good. What's up? I'm on Moyo Sauce, Taylor James, Monique, Mickey. What's good, Monique? I see you. What's up, Gregory? Peace, Nemo. Peace, Michael. What's up with you? Indeed, DeWanda. Peace, Brandon. Peace, Travaris. Peace, Karen. Peace, BYOB. I'm just gonna let people know I'm live. Hang on, family. Give me 1 second. Okay, family. Just wanted to let Facebook know I was on. Okay, I said we already growing close to 100 already. Cool. Welcome in, family. Tony, what's good with you? Do you? What's up with you? What's up with you, Deshaun? Marcus, I see you. Brandon Meeks, what's up with you? Okay, Brandon. Okay, so we're gonna have that discussion tonight, or today rather. Indeed, family. Peace, Kennard. Peace, Nicole. Terry, what's up with you? Peace. Teodra Quick, if I'm saying that correctly. Key Life Productions, what's up with you? Hey man, let's do it. We can do that, Key Life. Hit me up. Kevin D. Wesley 2682 at gmail.com. Peace to you, Tobias. Peace, Pierre. Thank you, Pierre. Peace, Derek. What's up, Carmen? What's up, Kennard? Goddess, RD, Nemo, Mache, what's up with you? Brian, Silence, what's up with you? Indeed, Papa. Michelle Benet, what's up with you? Pierre, what's up with you? So I see you all. Obviously, I appreciate you guys commenting. I want you guys to give me feedback as we continue this conversation, though. We're going to have a good one, family. So what do you do? Or what is the meaning of life if there's no heaven or hell? What is the meaning of life if there's no God or devil? Because so many times we've really based our whole lives on there being a reward or a punishment based on the lives that we live. And based on that, we've deemed a lot of things to be right and wrong, right and or wrong, based on this paradigm of going to some other place when we die. But if none of that is real, then what's the point of it all, right? What's the point of being a good person? What's the point of being a bad person? What's the point of standing up for what's right? What's the point of learning more, right? What's the point, right? What's the meaning? It's good to see you guys as well. Thank you very much, Brandon. It is warm in this room. Goodness gracious. Appreciate that, Brandon. All right, so what is the meaning of life if there's no heaven or hell, no God or devil? What's the meaning, right? You know how people talk about, what if we're in a false reality, right? What if none of this is real? What if when we die, we wake up and say, wow, that was a fun game or a challenging game, or I learned from that experience, right? What is that? I hear you, Brian. Just wanted to match that I love life because I do, right? Thanks, Josh. I was just trying something new. But okay, guys, so I want you to imagine with me. Thank you, Sagittarius. That's on www.betheevolution.org too, guys. It's been available for a while. This is one of our classics right here. All right, so just imagine. We talk about how the world can be fake, all this kind of stuff, right? And you can't really disprove that theory or that thought. So what do you do with that? In a world where we've been taught, believe in religion, believe in this and that, heaven and hell, God, the devil. How do you like recreate your meaning for life? Because what is the meaning based on? Is it what you mean from the life, or does life actually have a meaning or purpose for you? And this is where a lot of us stand in, I guess, in confusion, wondering what the answer to this question may be, because based on that, we've kind of shaped our whole paradigm and how we look at the world. Pierre, there is. Hit me up. Kevin D. Wesley 2682 at gmail.com. Okay. Or hit up Ricky Swink, hit up Vanessa Dixon. Any of those guys, you can hit them up and they will definitely fill you in on the details. So we're trying to build everywhere. Imagine this. This is a dream, right? Like they say, we've had a dream before, and in the dream, it felt real, right? It felt as if even the things you could touch or hold, or the things you saw in the dream, the feelings you felt in the dream, they felt real, correct? But you woke up realizing it was a dream. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine if you knew this world was a dream and you wanted to grow and learn. And the only way to do that would be to omit your knowledge of knowing that it was a dream, because if you knew that, you would cheat, right? You wouldn't get the same type of climactic drama from life that you would if you don't know what's going to happen, or you're not aware of who you are. So just imagine if every night you lay down to sleep, you dream, right? And you could choose your dream. Just imagine this. Now, imagine you can choose your dream, and this dream can last 40, 50 years, 80, 90 years in the dream. And you literally wake up the next morning, but you could spend 70, 80, 90 years in this dream. You could go create a family, raise your children, and everything, right? Within a dream, and wake up and it just be a dream. And you could do this and learn from the experiences that you had. Now, imagine you had this capability. Choose your dream, choose how long you want to stay in the dream, and put yourself in certain conditions and environments that would challenge you. And you know it's a dream, but you also know you'll wake up in about 8-9 hours anyway. So you probably will be risky in the dream you chose, because you know that it's not going to be real. You know that it doesn't have any real weight on your physical life. So why wouldn't you challenge yourself? Regardless of how crazy challenging the dream would be, it only lasts 8-9 hours anyway. So of course, some nights you might want to dream where it's a fantasy world, but during this dream, you wouldn't have any access to any other dreams that you've ever had before, nor that you were even dreaming. So you would just be exposed to the bliss. But you choose to go into this life or dream with challenges. What are those challenges? If you know that you're being challenged, what's the point of them all? If you know it, so you would have to omit yourself from knowing that you're going to be challenged, and you're going to put yourself in this predicament so you can come out learning something. So imagine you had this ability. Now you did this every single night. Every single night you chose your dream. One day you would end up with the life you have right now, right? It's fair to say, if you were to design your life around challenges and dream a different dream every single night, and with each night you have different challenges. It would be fair to say that at some point you would come up with the realm or the world you live in right now, the reality or the dream that you live in right now, right? Tim says, I'm really convinced we are all dreaming this. Now, to some of you, that may seem crazy, but I'm going to explain something to you. Let's say, for instance, I'm holding a cup, right? You can hear it. Can you guys hear this? You can hear the ice inside when I shake it, right? So I'm holding this cup in my hand. How do I know this cup is real, right? Well, I can feel it. I can feel the texture. I can hear the sound of it. Sounds like aluminum, right? I can feel the weight of it. When I put it towards my mouth and lift, I can feel the taste. I can feel the coolness from the ice, right? All these things I can feel. So I know this cup is in front of me, right? I can feel the weight of it. You know this cup is in front of me because you can see it. It's tangible, right? Now, have you ever had a dream where you were holding something in your hand? Could you not feel the weight of it? Could you not feel the texture? Could you not smell it? Could you not taste it? Was it real at that moment that you were dreaming? No. So how do I know I'm holding a cup now? Because in this dream, I had all the same sensory nerves that I have now in what I think it or believe it to be my reality, right? The only reason I can feel the texture is because the nerves in my fingertips are telling my brain something. The only reason I see this as a cup is because I've been taught that. The only reason I think this sounds like aluminum is because I've been taught that's what aluminum sounds like, right? This is the thing about the Matrix. What if everything you've been taught is fake? What if you think this tastes like rice, but what if rice never tasted like rice? What if what you're eating is just a mechanism in your brain telling you to taste this taste, but it literally has nothing to do with what you're eating? What if you're not eating at all? What if you're just being fed through a machine, right? And you think you're eating because the images are being filtered into your brain. This could all be a possibility. This is why I say in life, with all that you learn, right? With all that you come across in terms of information, it's great. But the sheer fact that we could all be dreaming right now has to humble you, right? Regardless of how much information you obtain, the sheer fact that you could be dreaming right now, that should humble you. And we cannot disprove that theory. This has to make you think, right? So if you were to design your own dreams and then go inside of your dream and live it, what would be the purpose of that particular life? The purpose would be from you, not meaning. So what we should do is look at life instead of saying, what is the meaning in terms of there has been someone on the other side that has now put a meaning onto life. We should now say, what is our purpose for life? How do you intend to live your life? Not what meaning did someone else associate to it, right? Because meaning can't come from someone else if it's your life. When you look up a word, you're looking up the meaning because you're looking up a word that someone else designed. So you're looking up their meaning of that word. So when you say, what's the meaning of life? It's almost like asking, what's the meaning behind someone else's view of life? And you're trying to take that on. You're asking, what's the meaning? Instead of looking at it and purposefully designing your meaning or your purpose, we're looking for someone else to give us meaning or purpose. And this can change your total outlook on life. Someone says, do you fear being wrong? If you and you met God? No, I don't. I feel that God would actually owe me an explanation. Not because I'm stronger than it or because it is under me or subject to me, but because I would assume that it would have the desire that I would be able to understand it. It created me. And if it wants me to understand its ways, I would have to ask it to explain why it set things up the way it did. Is there a fear of me meeting God and being wrong? No. My question would be, though, to this God, Why did you create this planet and then judge it by their belief in you if you weren't going to reveal yourself? Don't you think that that's a catch-22? How can you judge someone with an eternity for not recognizing that you are true if you don't reveal yourself as such? How can you judge someone to an eternity for not believing in you if you never speak to them? If you never offer any proof? If everyone that believes in you has to defend you instead of you them? If the people that believe in you didn't get really any benefit from it, they gave to a certain organization and didn't get back, and as a result, their lives are in financial shambles, right? They were raped by some preacher, pastor, or anyone, and they believed in this God, and he didn't intervene, or it didn't intervene. I would feel that God would owe me an explanation. Are you who they say you are in literature? Because if then you owe me even more of an explanation, I believe, because I don't understand you even more now. How can you be good and bad? I'm good and bad. I have good thoughts. I have bad thoughts. I do things that I should be rewarded for, but I do things I should apologize for. I'm human. I'm fickle. You shouldn't be, especially when you've been declaring yourself as being perfect. I want to know what its example or reasoning was behind the word perfect, because I understand perfect is not having any flaws, not making mistakes. Whatever its idea of perfect is can't be that, because the God in the Bible has shown both of those. So that would be my thing. No fear of meeting this God, but if I did meet him, I would feel that he would have to owe me something. I'm sweating, guys. It's hot. I don't think I'm gonna be able to go too long. I do this upstairs and the heat rises. It's unreal. It's just in a different, really small room, but it's hot in here. So what is the meaning behind life? Think about this, family. All right. We call ourselves humans, but really we're just organisms trying to survive on a planet that we barely even understand. We call it a planet. It's not even that. We may call it the Earth. It's not even that. It's just words and descriptive words that we give to try to define something. And that makes us feel more comfortable with where we are. Now, we think we understand the sun, but we really don't. We rationalize the sun burning some people as if the sun genuinely hates some people, as if the sun has its own mind and literally is out to attack people. It's an antagonist, if you will, to our enemies, if you will. But does the sun really have a meaning? Does the sun really think? Does the sun really say, I am going to burn you because you don't fit here or belong? I want you to think about something. You're not responsible for your biological vessels, correct? We just are here by happenstance. Yeah, you may know how you got here by origin of your mother and father, but you're still just by happenstance. You didn't choose how you looked. You didn't choose your parents. You didn't choose what your personality would be like or anything like that, right? So you are who you are by default. You didn't create you, so you don't deserve any credit for who you are. So if you don't deserve credit for being who you are, do you deserve ridicule? We criticize people for being ugly, too black, too tall, too short, fat, skinny. Is it really their fault, though? Now, don't get me wrong. Do some people overeat? Yeah. Do some people throw up after they eat? Of course. I'm asking on a normal scale, though. Is it their fault, or should they be ridiculed for looking the way they look when it's not by their own design? You could eat everything that another person could eat, and their body could metabolize that in a different way, and they may actually get fat from it where you won't. So then how do you have the ability to ridicule? Because we attach what you look like to your character, but does that really mean anything? If there's no God and there's no devil, then what is the purpose? The Bible taught us if someone overeats, then they are in sin. But what does that mean for us now? The Bible taught us if a man likes a man, then he's by default gay. Well, DeWanda taught that very well yesterday, and she actually showed that actually meant more so to a man to a child. And we all know Sodom and Gomorrah was actually about showing hospitality, being hospitable. Had nothing to do with men liking men or any type of sexual crimes at all. It was simply because they weren't kind and they didn't look out for their neighbor. This is what really pissed God off. You see, as she said, it's stated in the literature, but in our mindset, it's a whole nother thing. So if there's no one to answer to and there is no one person in charge, who are we to say to anyone how they should live. What's the meaning of life? You could go through life learning everything and die in a car accident. What would be the purpose of your life then? You could live your life and become a millionaire and die. What would be the purpose of your life? I was thinking about it. As we go through life, right? We think about how far we can go, how high we can climb, how much we can obtain. But when you die, you realize this. You don't realize anything, I imagine, after you die. But as you get old, I would imagine you would realize that it doesn't matter how much you've gained, how far you feel like you've came, you still end up in the same spot. Life is a journey to the middle of nowhere. You're just going to be right here. No matter how far you seem to go, most of the same people are around you. They're going to be there. Same mama, same daddy, same brothers, same sisters. And when you're dead, you're probably put in a plot right beside them in the city you grew up in. So what was ever the point of traveling the world and seeing everything if you're just going to end up in the same spot? What's the point of bragging? What's the purpose of life? What's the meaning? What if the meaning to life is what you apply to it? I talk about like what you leave behind for the next person. It's really like you continue in an aspect of your life or your work. If you live your life silent and you, I guess, mind your business and focus on you and be more self-centered than anything, I guess no one can blame you for that. That is a way to live, and you're not going to hell for it. Have at it. Enjoy yourself. But I believe being eternal or living a long life or having a legendary life, I would say, that is to give of yourself. Before you pass on, right? Pass on what you learn. And I would say you should learn before you pass on to pass on what you learn. Because when you do that, someone gets to continue with your work and move even further. Your view of your life may not stop with your life. It may continue through someone else's. You know what I mean? But if we keep looking at life from a standpoint of what's the meaning of life? Why am I here? Like, who did someone put me here as a purpose? What if you put you here as a purpose? If you think about this, who's creating you right now? Who's creating you right now? Not who created you millions of years ago from your origin story. Who's creating you now? Because your reality is shaped by your mind. So who's imparting into your mind? Who's pouring into your mind? Who's in charge, or who is the hand in creating how you see reality? Because that's who's creating you. You understand? You are nothing but your thoughts. Please understand that. Hang on. The one that says the meaning of life, the meaning is just to be. She says to live in the now. Absolutely, I agree. I agree 100%. To live in the now, whether it's good or bad, each experience in the positive or negative, brings us closer to who we are, who we intend to be. One is never off the course in life. If you really think about this, family, she's absolutely right. I would have to agree with that. I would say, when you come to places in your life, it really shows you more of who you are in terms of who your character is. Right now, if I were to say, who are you? You'd probably give me a name, but that's not who you are, because there are people who identify with that same name. So who are you really? And honestly, you don't know. We're trying our best to get to know who we are, but we can only gauge who we are based on this reality. If I say, who are you? And you say, well, I like bowling. Well, that can't be who you are. Someone created bowling, so you just, drawn a light towards it. But who are you, right? Everything that you can taste, smell, has something to do with this reality. So if I ask, who are you? You can't even define that or even rationalize that outside of this reality, because who are you without this world? Everything that you base upon yourself is based on what you see in this world. Facts. So who are we but the world? Who else can we be except for the reality that we see? This is why it's so important to control your own mind and do your own thinking, so you can see your reality based on how you see it, not how someone else told you to see it. So you already don't get the vessel that you want, or you don't get to choose your vessel. It's not like a video game where you get to pick what you want to be and what you want to look like. This is not how you come into this world. In this existence, you just end up here, and you asking questions. You're not controlling what you look like. You're not controlling who your parents are, how they're going to treat you. anything like that. So how do you find your purpose? What are the things that give you passion? What are the things that drive you? If you're, again, we already have certain constructs and certain ways of think as male and female. You didn't ask for your bodies, but because you're a male or female, you have to think this way. Same way, if you're a male or female, you have to think a certain way. If you're black or identify as black, you have to think this way and live your life like this. If you're white, this way, Chinese, this way, right? Everywhere we turn, someone's yelling at you that this is our culture. This is what you should be doing. This is not your culture. You shouldn't be doing that, right? This is what we hear all the time. We're constantly told how to live our lives. That's out of style. You can't wear that white past Labor Day. You can't mix plaids with stripes. Corduroys are out of style, right? And I keep saying to you guys, the sheer fact that humans wear clothes is stupid anyway. So it's kind of silly to tell people what they should be wearing and what they shouldn't be. It's really silly. So again, I heard a person say that, they were a king, they don't wear suits, or kings don't wear suits. Well, I did a little research, and actually the suit was invented by a king, or it's attributed to a certain king that invented this suit. They actually invented the suit. So whatever. And I've actually looked up different pictures of different kings. They wear suits. King Joffrey Ja on Coming to America. We love that movie where they depict, royalty, like kind of like Black Panther, where they depicted royalty, right? In their uniforms and the clothing, the attire that they wore on the film. King Joffrey Ja definitely had on a suit. He had a lion head across it too, but he had, different suits throughout the movie. Nobody had a problem with that, but this is just the thing. We focus on things that are really neither here nor there, and we apply meaning to it, thinking that it actually has meaning when it doesn't. The only meaning attached to it is what you apply to it. Again, we have meanings for colors. How do we do that? So when you have a programming that tells you how to see the world, especially based on whether you're male or female, this can change your paradigm and alter how you see reality. It can cause you to not be able to get along with the opposite sex solely because you think they think differently than you. You can be a victim of like culture bias or gender bias solely because you don't feel as if you can relate to another gender when really you should be trying to relate to the human, to the person. It doesn't matter what sexual organ that they have. We should see each other as humans first. And I hate to even say the word human because that's a word given to us, right? But again, we're trying to use the same exact words and meanings that they gave us to rationalize this life. Let's see here. We have a troll in the building. I'm trying to get rid of. I don't think I have any moderators on right now, so. Hopefully they are gone. Facts, Sarah. What would you do if you wake up and realize you was an ant this whole time and you was just dreaming you were human? Facts. Again, we've all had dreams where we felt like, that they were real, that they were absolutely real until we actually woke up, and then we realized that we were wrong. And with everything in us, we thought, using our senses, using our cognitive ability, we thought that this was really happening, but it in fact wasn't. So how do you rationalize that this reality is real? Facts, LaQuinn. Hello, Kev. I've learned that before we could find out what our own life purpose is for ourselves individually, we must first learn or unlearn the facade or lie that we have been given. I can see that. And know that you only see the world through how other people see you. Just imagine if you had zero mirrors in life. Imagine if there were no mirrors and you couldn't see yourself. And so your only description or knowledge of yourself as far as physically will come from other people. You wouldn't actually be able to see yourself. What would you do with that? Okay, Catherine, I'm interested in hearing more about that. Please email me at KevinDWesley2682@gmail.com. And thank you so much for the donation. Action speaks louder than words. So, based on what body you're in, based on what vessel you're in, that actually leads to a lot of decisions that you make. So, like again, we talked about tribalism. If you identify with a certain group, you will agree more with that group and lean more to that group, right? But what if you couldn't see what you look like? What if you had no idea what you look like? Would you then judge the next person? Because how can you judge them if you can't even see yourself? You don't even know what you look like. Your only knowledge of yourself would come from literally other people. Absolutely, James. But again, what if this is all a matrix, and anytime you look into anything that gives you a reflection, it will give you a false image of yourself? What if every image you see of everyone is actually false? What if it's just their projected mental image of themselves, that the image that they project out of their own mind? What if it's just that? What if it's not? Because again, we've done this in our dreams. We've had dreams of people that we know. Well, we've dreamt of people that, at least I have. I've dreamt of people that I never met in my life. And yet they were in my dreams, living, reacting, responding. Thank you very much, Demar. And I woke up wondering to myself, how did I create this whole person? And why in my dream did I feel like I knew them? And it was my brain capable of developing a whole backstory for this character that didn't exist. What just happened? Actions speak louder than words, Demar. Thank you. Grammy the boss, we would be, and we are now. We shape our reality off of how we've been taught to see it. You see what I'm saying? Thank you very much, Manny. The way we see reality is how we were taught to see it. Many of us grew up with the ideas that black was somehow cursed, white was somehow positive. We were afraid of black cats. We call it black male, right? And we know this all the time. Well, we do this with different words because it asserts negative in front of it, right? Or dark. These are both terms that have been used that have been negative in nature. And why? Black or dark is not negative, right? We need night. Without night, many animals wouldn't survive. Take animals that are nocturnal. They see at night. They hunt at night. This is when they live. It's just saying that they live when the sun isn't down or out. Their whole anatomy of biological vessels is set up for seeing at night. Without the night, they wouldn't survive. So to them, they wouldn't say that black is bad, right? Or dark is bad. So this is just our perspective. We say that because we can't see in the dark, or we can't see at night. So therefore, we look at things the same way as we would view them. Sorry, guys, I have a troll and they just keep coming back. So Key Life says, I dreamt about a girl. She was so beautiful. And I actually was hoping that she really existed. I could imagine. I too have had a dream similar to that. Even in the dream, we were like in love, really, really into each other. And I woke up and I didn't even know who the heck she was. But in the dream, I was fully aware of who she was. So again, if the same thing can be happening right now, we could literally be living in a false reality. That when we wake up, it's solely about what we could learn and the knowledge we could obtain and the help that we provided for others. If life is about that, right? When we die, we simply unplug and be like, wow, that was crazy. I want to try it again, or I don't want to go back for a while, or I want to try it again on a different setting. You know what I mean? If it's like that, then you designed a purpose for life. What was your reason for plugging in? What was your reason for coming here? Instead of saying, I didn't ask to be here. My parents, were having sex and that's how I got created. Everything in this world happens to me And I'm not responsible for really creating anything, right? If I get the hiccups, I got the hiccups, right? If this is happening to me, I got a cold. I have a stomach ache. Like, I'm not doing this to myself. I'm not creating the stomach ache. This is happening to me. And this is how we see reality, is if these things are happening to me. Not going to understand that because we've pretty much given up our responsibilities, or we don't have any responsibilities over our biological makeup or chemistry. So we only have control over a portion of our mind. And I would say we'd have control over more of a portion of our minds if we actually had the opportunity to learn on our own versus learning how someone else thinks and adopting their programming. But we don't have control over our bodies, right? You don't have to worry about telling your heart to beat a certain amount of times every minute, right? We don't have to worry about our bodies doing something with the oxygen whenever we inhale it, right? We just do our part for breathing, and we don't even have control over that. But our body's responsible for doing with that oxygen, what it does with it, sending it throughout our bloodstream, our brain, and whatnot, right? We're not actually in control of breaking our food down and using the certain things that's in the food, right? Our body's responsible for breaking that data down. We're just responsible for chewing up the food, right? So we don't have a whole lot of control. A lot of us men, our hair recedes at a certain age. We're not in control of the height that we are. Again, you're just along for the ride. These things we don't have control over. You understand? We just trust them to do their jobs. I trust my heart to beat the next second or two. You know, I trust that my lungs are going to be working. You know, like all this. And right, genetics at the very base of your existence is what we call DNA, or your genetic code, right? And even that is every bit as important as you, because inside of that DNA, it has more information than you could possibly even contain inside of your mind. And yet we think we're the ones in charge. Really, your biological vessel is what's doing it. What if your biological body is just going to survive? And again, you're just along for the ride. You don't really have any choice in the matter. You have to eat, you have to drink, you have to sleep. All these things you have to do to be able to survive in this world. What if it's not about you at all? I know that sucks because we want to have the purpose for our life and we want our own lives, but your cells, what's their purpose? Do they have a purpose-driven life, or are they just doing the work that's needed to be done? Are we just doing the work that needs to be done? When we die, we become food for the earth and every organism that would have at it, right? So what's really the purpose of life? After it's all said and done, what would be the purpose? And is it all worth it? What is it? What is it worth even? Thank you very much, Maverick. See, Royal Life Family says, I was told coming up in Pentecost church that it was a sin to ask questions. But once I became a man and started to question and research the deeper meanings I got, the more I started to see when I was deceived. Absolutely. I have people who comment the silliest stuff and I have to go remove them. I hate that because I would like to just have an honest dialogue, mature conversation, but it doesn't seem to be possible with a lot of people. You know, well, again, religion has taught us to think one way. Society has taught us to think another. So how do you move past all of that and see for yourself? Like, honestly, how do you see for you? See the world without the lens of so many people that came before you, because again, they're seeing the world through their own culture, their own time frame. And so they gave this to you. And now you're looking at the world through archaic eyes, ancient eyes. Lady K said, what about having a guardian angel everywhere we go? I was just talking to Monique about that. I was saying, you know, how we can go into a supermarket and we can say, Jesus is good, right? It's more pork and beans on the counter and nobody will trip. They may say you're a little rambunctious, right? But they won't trip. They know who you're talking about. But if I went into a store and said, praise, Bill, or, praise Jonathan, there's pork and beans on the counter. There's nobody standing there but me. They would look at me like I'm crazy. If I walked up to a random person, even if they don't believe in Jesus or subscribe to it, if I said to them, Jesus put something in my spirit to tell you, they would accept that better than me saying Bartholomew did, simply because they're familiar with the name, right? So I was saying, she said, what if there are guardian angels? I was saying, they're trying to convince us of their imaginary friend, who is Jesus. And they're literally upset with us, right? Right? They're upset with us. Hang on a second, guys. Let's see. So they're upset because we won't believe in their imaginary friends, right? What if you were trying to prove your imaginary friend to someone? You got someone you believe in, right? You think they're beside you when you ride down the road, when you're sitting on a park bench, you talk to your imaginary friend. And it comes time for you to speak to them, right? Or speak about them. This friend who you can see, seemingly can see, they're talking with you. As soon as you get ready to introduce someone to your friend, they don't want to speak up. They got nothing to say. So now your friends are telling you they don't see the guy, right? You're saying he's clearly right here, right? And they're asking you, would it improve he's there? And you're like, well, I just got faith that he is. And they start to walk off, right? And everyone starts to disregard your claim about your best friend. Eventually, wouldn't you look at your best friend and say, bro, you see me vouching for you. You see me telling people about your existence. Why don't you say nothing, man? Like, you talk when nobody else is around. But when everybody's around, you don't say nothing. You're not obviously not interested in people knowing who you are. So why should I even introduce you, bro? Like, this is silly. Eventually, you would ask your friend that question. Why don't you speak whenever it's time to speak? Why you got me out here looking stupid? You see what I'm saying? But when it comes to Jesus, we don't do that. Hang on, this Callie, he might actually want something. What's up, brother? Hello? Kelly. You know, hung up. Hang on. Yeah. What's up, bro? I'm on a live. Was you calling because of that, or you had something to say, or what? Oh, you on live? Yeah, I got you on speaker too, so I didn't know if you wanted. So I'm on YouTube. I'm doing a little conversation on what if or if there is no heaven or hell, then what's the meaning of life? If there's no God or the devil, then what is the meaning of life? So we just wrap it on YouTube. I ain't know you was on live. Yeah. I'm only gonna be here for a few more minutes, man. It's too hot in this room. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. We'll talk about it when you get out. I'm about to tune in. All right, bet. All right. Let's see here. Icho says you must combine all religions to have anything close to what we consider God, as if one book contains something so massively unexplainable. But here's the thing: can it be contained in any book, especially when between that book and knowledge, there's information. This is the wall. You have a book. You have a product here. You have material that has information. In order for that information to be converted into knowledge, there has to be an understanding. And the problem with that is the brain is in the way. How you see the world is how you're going to see the writing. It has nothing to do with if it's true or not. It's based on how you see it. So if there was a God literally in control of giving us literature, it should have known that. Our problem is the brain. We can be texting somebody and they can read your exact words and take it the wrong way. And you didn't mean any harm at all. But based on the mood they were in, they saw your text as being negative, right? And then they didn't like how you said it to them. But how did you say it if it was a text? They didn't like the way they read it. They projected it onto themselves. You didn't say it that way. They just read it that way. You understand? So when you're dealing with literature like that, and it's like, okay, I could see that, You'd have to combine all this literature in order to even have an aspect of who you even talking about, or even how to rationalize who this God is. But just to think that a God had anything to do with literature is just crazy to me, especially if this God knows everything. It would know how skewed we get over literature. Like, we misinterpret crap very easily. Not even literature. Someone can speak something and they misinterpret it. I grew up hearing that what was bad. My grandma would say, if you say what, you're getting a whooping. So you had to say huh or ma'am. So when I got grown, I was dating a girl that said what. And every time she would say what, I felt like she was getting an attitude. So I would say to her, what's your problem? And she's like, what do you mean, what's my problem? I mean, I called your name and you said what? You can't say huh? Like, why what? And she never heard that before. She thought that was really crazy. Like, she didn't grow up with that paradigm. So either A, I'm going to try to convince her to stop using it to suit my own paradigm, or I can just get rid of that and say, okay, well, that what doesn't actually be, it actually isn't negative. That was my grandmother's mental hang up, and I don't have to adopt that as my own, and I can leave that in the past and carry my life. This is what we do with our lives as we observe it and continue on. Something's hot, you say, okay, I won't touch that anymore. You start to realize, you start to learn. We weren't able to do that with religion, and it took over a lot of our reality because you weren't able to rationally think about things in that way. You know, this is why religion is detrimental for the mind and its ability to evolve and think, because religion takes away your ability to think. Like, when I would say, why is it storming, or where do thunderstorms come from? If my grandmother had given me something other than God is doing his work, I probably would have still had my curiosity piqued and wanted to know. This could have yielded a different Kevin than you see today. I could have probably been a person who was really a scientist or cared more about the weather and whatever the way may be. But my grandmother said that God is doing his work. That quenched my curiosity, and I had no more need to learn. So I just left it alone, you know. What's up, Chief? I see you, Callie. That's Callie in the building. Callie, you about 47 minutes in. I won't be that much longer, brother. Let's see, LaDonna said that I think the character Satan wanted to help us become like God and him, but the character God did not want us to be God-like. Well, there you go. Think about this, family. When did Satan ever say he wanted to destroy God's creation or do anything evil? He said, I want my stars to be where God's are. In my mind, that is simply admiration. He wanted to be like God. Or even if he said my stars will be more than God's, how is that evil to be competitive? How is that evil? Think about it. When did he ever say he wanted to harm people? If he said, I want my stars to be more than God's, then he just has that same type of attitude as God. As the Bible's God asserts himself as being more than everyone else too. So he suffers from that same flaw if he's going to blame Satan for having that same flaw, correct? Now, God made Satan, and God said that Satan was evil from the beginning. What does the beginning mean to God? Same thing the beginning means to you. The start, the origin, right? In the beginning, God created, right? In the beginning, when God created Satan, was Satan evil? According to God, yes. He says you were evil ever since the beginning. So if Satan was evil since the beginning, who created him? God, right? Satan didn't create himself. So if God created Satan, this is what a Christian mind starts to unplug, because they don't want to answer these questions rationally, right? They can't do it. Who created Satan? God. God said that Satan was evil from the beginning. So who created Satan? God. Does God make mistakes? No. Did God intend on Satan being evil? If Satan was evil from the beginning and God created him from the beginning, God works in mysterious ways. That's not what I asked you. And that doesn't answer the question. Yes or no? Did God intend on Satan to be evil if God created Satan as evil, if God doesn't make mistakes? He knows everything. So wouldn't he know Satan would have been evil? He would have known this, correct? And yet he designed him in the exact same way that he designed him, knowing he would be inherently evil. You are evil. You were evil since the beginning. Who created Satan? God is the antagonist and the protagonist. This is what you guys have to understand. But I don't want to get off too much on the character that God is in the Bible. I want to talk more about you know, how we see the world without the Bible, without literature, without a God who tells you what to do, without a God who judges you to a heaven or hell or rewards you with the heaven. You know, what does your life look like to you without a God to judge you? If everything that you see in the world that's deemed evil or good is simply man's opinion, how do you live your life? Callie says this disqualifies God from being all-knowing, or either he's just simply a monster. Absolutely. And he's one or the other. If he's not all-knowing, then is he still God? If part of God is being all-knowing, because God or the creator of you cannot be all-knowing. The creator of you could actually be dumb as a rock. To be honest with you, you don't have to be intelligent to create snot. Your body just does it. You don't have to be intelligent to create sweat, feces, right? Saliva, any of these things. You don't have to be intelligent to do these things. Your body does that for you, right? You've never thought, let me push salt and poisons out of my body by sweating. This never came to your mind. You've never thought, I've got this germ, right? This bug, and I need to produce mucus to flush it out, right? You've never thought that. You've never thought any of these things. So the fact that a God or a being would have the ability to create you, it could elude the very being that is the being. It could be alluded to how it even did this. You could have been a one-hit wonder. Again, like I say, it's very crazy that you think about the world and you say, okay, we got all this space, all these galaxies, and God decided to put us all on this planet, not Mars. No other planet is going to have any type of attention drawn to it, except for the Earth. God cares about the Earth and the people on it. And if they jack off, if their penises are circumcised, you know, if they have sex with the same sex partner, if they think lustful thoughts about someone else, right? If they don't pay taxes, if they don't obey Caesar's law, if they don't worship it, right? A God wouldn't care about those things, would he? Well, we don't know because it never speaks. This is why I'm asking you, what would you will from your own life if there was not a deity, a magical deity in the sky wielding it for you? Appreciate that, Barbados. So fire itself doesn't produce light. So fire would be unaware that it's actually producing light. You can burn a fire to keep warm, but you will also burn a fire to brighten the room. It's useful on both mechanisms, but the fire itself is not saying I'm also working to produce light. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does this make sense to you? So a God producing life, it may be completely unaware to what it's doing. A fire producing heat could be unaware to what it's doing. The fire doesn't know it's heat. It doesn't know it's light, but it's both. So you don't know what you're producing. Do I understand? I learned more about myself since I left religion. I've been out of religion. Religion is a safety net for those who choose to give their responsibilities to something and someone outside of themselves. I completely agree. And that's one of the hardest things about giving up religion is you have to accept all that responsibility back on yourself and be like, I am where I am as a result of my own ignorance. It's not putting the responsibility on your person, on your character, and saying I'm a horrible person for being here. It's saying that I am where I am as a result of my own ignorance. The responsibility lies in you taking control of your life. We're not saying put blame on yourself, but take responsibility for yourself. Who else is responsible for getting you out of the crap you in? If you gave your life to religion, even if you were manipulated into it, even if you were deceived, no, it's not your fault. You are a victim as much as the next person. But who's responsible for rescuing you, if not you? Who's responsible for giving your life back? Who's responsible for restoring you? Who's responsible for healing your mind? And lastly, who's responsible for giving you information now that you're out of religion? You. You can't blame anybody else for who you are anymore. And that's the thing about losing religion is that's the change in life. Let's just say someone comes to me and they say, Kevin, I'm a preacher now. They come to me as a preacher. Kevin, I'm battling with depression. I think of suicide. I don't want to be here. I'm very sad. I would say, well, let us pray for you. Thank you very much, Scorpio. Let us pray for you, right? I would call up the congregation, the prayer warriors, and we would pray for you, right? And I would hope in my heart genuinely that God would heal you of that, right? I would ask God genuinely to heal you of that, right? To bring you joy, because God is able. I would do that. But as a person now who doesn't think with that type of mindset, and you came to me and said, Kevin, I'm suffering from depression. I don't want to live. I don't want to be here. And I often think about hurting myself. I would have a totally different approach. I would not think once about praying for you. I would think about talking to you, and not just talking to you, but more so listening. I want to hear how what's happening when this depression sits in. When did it start? Right? What scenery are you in when this happens? Right? And so I would try to find out where and what's triggering your depression and help you deal with the source of your depression, not pray that it would make it better. And after that type of conversation, I would hope that that would be better than just people putting their hands on you. And maybe you can walk away with some type of knowledge as to where it's coming from. You see, it could be a chemical imbalance in your body. You could be genuinely just living a mundane life and be seeking excitement. It could really feel like kind of what's the purpose of it all. Whatever the case may be, you need to know that. It's really for you to understand so you can get past it. But praying for you won't yield the same results. You'll leave that room and just hope that you don't get depressed. And then when that depression comes back again, you're just depressed. But at least this way, you have a way to rationalize it and talk about it. Instead of saying, God has given it to you, please remove it. You can now say, okay, these are the things that's happening in my life, when I'm feeling depressed, right? So I say, okay, when I'm feeling depressed, I'm struggling with it. I'm struggling in my income. So maybe you attach your self-value to your income. This is why you feel depressed whenever you feel that you don't have enough to survive. Okay. When else do you feel depressed? Well, I just feel depressed when this, and this. And then you can be able to rationalize to that person, why they potentially feel depression and help them with that. But if you're just saying, let me put my hands on you real quick, let's believe God, where does that get you? Really? You see, K-Sun says it's hard. I totally I'm gonna get back to it. I totally understand that coming out of religion, especially being brought up from an infant in the church, it's very difficult to shake and brainwash the influence once you awaken its bliss. Once you awaken to its bliss, absolutely, I agree with that. Maverick says, I never really understood religion, so leaving was super easy. The hardest thing for me was what this lecture is about, finding out what life is about. Absolutely. And how do you navigate through ambiguity? Absolutely. How do you navigate through ambiguity? Something that could literally mean anything. Okay. Something that could literally mean anything, right? How do you navigate through it? Where do you find your conviction? Where do you find your guilt? Should you have guilt? Should you care about other people now that you don't go to hell for not caring? Should you help other people now that you don't go to hell for not helping? You have to define that purpose for your life. And this is the hardest part for us. Do giraffes walk around with the same type of thought? Do cardinals fly around with the same type of thought? Do dolphins swim in the sea with the same type of thought? What is my purpose for life? Do we think higher of ourselves than we actually are? Are we more advanced than ants because we build pyramids and they build mounds? Are we more advanced than gorillas because we build houses and they build nests, right? What makes us exceptional, really? Honestly, what makes us exceptional? If we die and turn back into dust, just like every other organism that we know of, I think it's the ability to call ourselves human. We talked about this last time when someone told me that parrots talk, and that means that they're conscious. You can't think that because a parrot is repeating you, that it's also applying meaning to the words it uses. You don't. I mean, honestly, for instance, a parrot's repeating. It doesn't mean that they're actually drawing consciousness to the words they're saying. It's the same as when you bark like a dog to your dog. You may have meaning behind your bark, but the dog doesn't understand you. So In essence, the dog does not understand you. So you're not really talking to the dog, meaning you can't bark or you can't speak dog. You can't communicate with a dog via words or via any type of understanding where you're making a noise unless you're making your own. And this dog learns your spells or learns your body language or your tones. But we in turn cannot bark. We can meow all we want, but no cat's going to understand us. You understand? We can make bird noises all we want, but these birds are not going to understand us. We're not literally saying something to birds. We're not communicating. We're just making sounds. So it's the same way to think a parrot is talking to you. It's almost to assume that pink is a girl's color. You see what I'm saying? Or red means passion or whatever. We apply meaning to it. It doesn't mean that the colors themselves are giving us meaning. You understand? It doesn't mean the parrot itself is trying to say something to us. You understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense to you all? Because if we're believing that because we have a meaning for something, that the intent belongs to the actual thing that we're deriving meaning from and not you, that's the illusion. White does not mean pure. We made the meaning of white pure, but white does not intend on anything. White does not have an intention, you know? And I'm saying white so you guys can understand where I'm coming from. I'm pointing at this this light shade. And I just want you guys to be able to understand what I'm pointing at. It has no meaning. Black doesn't have a purpose for you. It's a color. How you rationalize it is one thing. It has no real meaning in terms of from itself to you. You understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? It's the same way as zebras don't walk around calling themselves zebras, right? Cows don't call themselves cows. They don't call lizards lizards. None of this matters. We talked about this the other day. What makes the lion the king of the jungle? Where did we get this from? What makes them at the top of the food chain? What does? Because if you take some lizards or some reptiles, they can recreate themselves, so to speak, or regrow limbs, but they still have natural predators. So because they can do something that most species can't do, or most organisms can't do, they're still not technically at the top. And we would say that their biological meat suits are very superior, at least to our own, or any animal that can't regrow an arm or leg or tail. We kill for that ability. Imagine what that would mean for mankind to discover that. And these animals can do it on their own. And yet we walk around like we are the pinnacle of life. Why? If there is no heaven or hell, if there is no God or devil, then who said that we are the pinnacle of life? And by what standards are you judging that? Can you demonstrate that? Is life meaningless if we don't give it meaning? Well, if you're talking about if everyone individually didn't give life meaning, yeah, but you always going to have someone that gives meaning to your life, even if you don't give meaning to it. This is the whole purpose of designing your own life. You ever see someone when someone dies or lives a life that is upstanding? People tend to tell that person that was their life, that was the meaning of their life, that was the life they were supposed to live, but that was a choice that they made. Life is about choices. There is no fate. There is no predestined turn for you. It's all full of decisions. It's decision after decision. And this is the toughest part about it, because every decision defines who you are. You're not defined by what color you like, what your favorite color is, because that color is based on reality and based on how you perceive that color. You can't define yourself on your favorite food because that is how your biological meat suit observes that food. You can't rationalize that to being you. Who are you? Who are you in terms of intelligence? The one thing that we can say defines you, though, is the way you decide, your decision making, right? And this right here dictates where you end up in life. What decisions do you make? So the key is to be as aware as you possibly can before or when you have a decision presented, so you don't make decisions in ignorance. You understand? Quick story. There was a guy who had a huge farm, and he was looking for help. So he did what any other person would do, is he put an ad in the paper and began to hire some help. He brings guys in, but none of them seem to be equipped to do the job. He gives them one job to do. They can't seem to get it all done in one day. or keep up with the standards as far as how fast it should be done, keep up with production. Finally, he hires this guy who's absolutely exceptional. He tells him to chop wood for one day, and this man chopped up more wood than he ever saw chopped before in a day. He's thrilled. The very next day, he has this man to mend fences, right? To find boards and things that's landing around and literally mend them back into fences. And the man did that better than anyone else that ever did it. So he comes to the guy the next day and he said, listen, I have another job for you. I want you to take this big batch of potatoes that you see, and I want you to separate them. Okay. I want you to separate them into ones that's edible, into the ones that's plantable, the ones we're going to replant back into the ground, and into the ones that's no good. We're going to throw them away or feed them to our pigs or whatever. Right. The man spends about 5 or 6 hours with it, comes back to the boss to tell him, I'm done. I can't do this. And the boss is like, whoa, wait a second. You're the best worker I ever had. I will give you a raise. I'll do whatever I can to keep you. What can I do? And he said, listen, man, I just can't do it. I can chop wood. I can mend fences. But all these decisions on potatoes, it just ain't enough. I just can't do it. I can't do it. It's just too much pain and stress on me. He didn't like making a decision between what's good, what's plantable, and what's bad, what's edible, what's plantable, and what are we going to throw away. He didn't like having to make decisions. He just liked to be mundane and chop wood. He just liked to be mundane and make decisions. We are like that farmer. That we are like that helper. We're okay with being guided and told what to do, but as soon as we're given the right to make our own decision, we don't want to make it. And that's the crazy thing. As long as you're in religion, you good with listening to your pastor, doing what he tell you to do. He don't only tell you to come to church and not cuss or not allowing people to go to heaven. This joker got you doing stuff that's outside of the Bible. He tell you that you got to be the leader of the choir because he knows that your voice is amazing and you'll bring in people and you believe that it's a calling from God because he asserted that over you. He told you that God willed it. So now you're over the choir, you're over the choir, the usher board, over all these different things, and you don't even have time for yourself, and you're taking on all this stuff because someone else has given you your mission, and they will run you dry because all they're thinking about is their mission, and they're telling you what your mission is as it pertains to theirs. But what if your mission has nothing to do with them? What if your mission has everything to do with them, but it was still pursuing what you wanted to pursue, and it just in turn helped that mission? But who is that man to tell you that God required to put you anywhere? As soon as you leave religion and you have the opportunity to make your own decisions, you say, what do I do now? This should tell you that you are in a handicapped position, crippled in your mind. You can't make your decisions even when given the opportunity. We leave religion and we're asking where else to go. People see me wake people up from religion and say I shouldn't be doing so because I don't tell them where to go next. Where should they go next? Be free. I don't understand. Where should I tell you to go? Who should I tell you to listen to? I don't have rhetoric that I assume that you have to believe to be a better person. I don't have information that I assert that you have to know in order to enlighten. That's not me. Go to someone else. If you want a pastor or a spiritual leader, if you will, or a master teacher, if you will, I'm not your guy. I'm not a person who tells people what they should be doing with their lives. It's up to you to decide. It's your life. Do with it what you will. Do what thou will. See what I'm saying? Will your own life. What is your will? We kept saying, Jesus, take the wheel. Well, it's time for you to take your will back. Take it back because you've been driven so far off course, you don't even want to drive no more. Now, you done kick one driver out, and here you are asking for somebody else to come drive you. At some point, you're going to have to learn how to read a road map and start navigating on your own, or the risk of being lost or misled is still going to be present. How else can you have the pride and the confidence in yourself to live your life if you don't take it upon yourself? Do you understand? Learn how to read a map. Stop getting directions. Maybe you'll get where you're trying to go. Our whole life, we've been trying to pursue something that someone else told us to pursue. We didn't create the idea of God. They created the idea of God and had us chasing it, had us pursuing it, trying to make God happy, trying to please someone we never met before. Now you realize this person has no evidence to support its existence. And you're saying, well, what do I do now? You're still in a position of weakness. You're still in a position of being crippled and needy. Who can tell you what to do with your life? And why do you need somebody else to validate that? Or you? What drives you? What is your song? What makes you consistent? When people see you, what do they see? This can tell you a lot about who you are. But see, a lot of this, we don't want to hear it when someone's blatantly honest with us and tells us what they see. We don't want to hear that. Well, listen, I think it's okay to handle a little bit of criticism, being that you've been in a life where you could just live how you wanted to live without criticism. Maybe you need it. When you're in religion, you can stand up. I got a testimony. God did this. God did that, right? I had a cold. God healed it. Needed a job. God gave it, right? All this stuff. And people shout amen in the background. No one challenges you. Can you demonstrate that God gave you a job while he let me not have one? Or while he let this person starve to death? Or while he let this person be raped? Can you demonstrate that for me? You've never been challenged to that degree. You were just able to stand up and assert whatever you wanted to say and sit out and everything be fine. Well, now you can't do that. And you're wondering, what do I do? You get angry and upset when somebody challenges you. We can't do that. We have to be willing to hear what somebody else has to say, rationalize it, and then apply it to our lives and see if it works. If someone's talking and they say something that may be outside of something I know, I need to pause, take a breather. Does that person have a point? Stop seeing everything as an attack. You understand? Watch this. This is what I mean by taking it upon yourself to think about responsibility. I send you a message or I say something to you and you say, I don't like the way you said it. Now, okay, that may be true. And maybe I even said it with an attitude. But think about this. Is it better for you to check me on my attitude and ignore what I said? Or is it better for you to read what I said and ignore my attitude? Because just maybe I'm telling the truth regardless of my attitude. Does having an attitude mean I'm lying? No. Could I have been possibly backed into a corner, angered, and that made me tell you the truth? That is possible. So if you write off what I'm saying because you don't like how I said it, then you are making the mistake. So it's better for you to disregard the attitude and listen to what I said. Correct? It's better for your well-being as a person. If you write off what I said simply because you think I have an attitude, then you're doing yourself an injustice. How can you grow if you're ignoring what someone says simply because you don't like it or you don't like the presentation of it? Is it true? Hey, listen, man, I don't know what type of deodorant you're using, but it ain't working for you. You understand? Like, I smell like you using this certain type of deodorant. It didn't work for me either. So I don't know, man. Just a suggestion, bro. This is what I use. Okay, they might take that. Okay, bro, listen, bro, you stink. You come in here every day stinking. Everybody say it behind your back. I just want to tell you to your face because I'm tired of seeing people clown you. You need to go get you some better soap. Now you're mad. Both told you the truth. You just don't like how one said it. But if you listen to what they said, you would have got to the truth anyway. If you disregard one of them because you don't want to hear it, in one of these scenarios, you're going to be walking around still stinking and still being talked about. Which would you prefer? To be pissed off because of how someone presented you information, or to get the information, go and use it, apply it to your life, and be better? What would you prefer? Right. Astro said, it's funny how you can see the dead animal on the side of the road and think nothing of it, but when you see a dead human, it's more alarming. That is absolutely facts. Because we deem ourselves as more important. And don't get me wrong, I imagine a beetle cares more about seeing a dead beetle than it does seeing a dead cockroach. And that's okay. Of course, you're going to identify with what you look like is more. But because you identify with what you look like doesn't mean that there's any truth to you being better. And this is what we need to understand. Our reality is how we see it. It doesn't mean there's any truth to it. You understand? Our reality is we believe in gods, we believe in colors, we make airplanes, and we call land masses states and cities and towns and streets. Ants don't do that. That doesn't make us more important than them. You understand? This is what we need to understand. It doesn't make us more important than an elephant because we use navigational systems and they don't. Do you understand? Because they don't clock into a job or cuddle up into covers to go to bed, that doesn't make us any better than them. So based on what logic do you think we're at the top? Because we terrorize people? That can't be it. That can't be it. Lydia says, lively Lydia says, what happens when we die? That is a question that has plagued mankind for as long as we know. What happens? From this side, though, from this side, looking at the body, what happens when we die? We decompose. But here's the thing. That's because someone gave us a word, decompose. What if you didn't understand the word decompose? What if you didn't understand the word breakdown? What if you didn't understand that? What if it happened quicker than you thought? What if it happened immediately? And when someone died, they would seem to just disappear into thin air and vanish, like on Endgame, whenever he snapped his fingers and they would just turn into ashes, and eventually the ashes wouldn't even be there, right? If you slow it down, though, you can see them decompose, at least appear to be doing so. So when our biological vessels die and they decompose, because we can see the body break down. And I was going to try to say the word, I don't want to mess it up, because the decomposition is what I want to say. But because we can see the body decomposing, right? We don't think it's magic. We don't think it's vanishing. We just say this is a part of life. It's decomposing. It's breaking back down, right? But what if it's literally? What if we're vanishing? And because we can see the magic happening, we just don't think it's magic. This is what happens in a lot of ways. Some things seem so magical until someone explains it to you, and then it's not magic anymore. But does explaining it make it not magic? Where do you go when you die? You tell me. And see, I could see that, LaDonna, Thanos actually being a good guy. I could actually see that. Thank you, Lively. Because see, when you think, she says, you got me thinking. When you think, your body literally becomes food to every organism around it, or it simply becomes back into the earth and becomes fertilizer for plants, right, to live on, which create fruit for other animals and other people to eat, other organisms to survive off of. So we're always being used by the earth. You know what I mean? Even now, believe it or not, you're still a tool for the earth. You exhale carbon dioxide. So you are a tool for the earth. You're just a battery, just like in the Matrix. You may not be plugged into a machine, but even if you are free to roam the cabin, even if you are free to roam the earth, what you excrete is still usable by the earth. What you urinate is still usable by the earth, right? When you die, every part of your being is decomposable. You break down. I don't have a Cashapp. I only have PayPal. Royal family, if you'd like to send me a donation, go to www.bthevolution.org and click on the donate tab. All right. Thank you very much, Ichigo. Thank you very much, Melanin Goddess. So if we understand that our bodies is just fuel, then we will understand that we are literally batteries for the earth. Everything that we produce without trying is fuel for the earth. When we eat, we turn it into excretion, which is fertilizer for the earth. Urination is fertilizer for the earth. And when your body dies, it's fertilizer for the earth. To think that our life, I guess, is somewhat on its own, we created differently than the earth or separate from it, is just ridiculous. Our reality is that of who we are. You are what you eat, right? You are what you eat. You are what you eat. I just want to say that 3 times because we've been told this, and we think that means if you eat bad, then your health will be bad, or if you eat good, your health will be good. But I want to kind of change the thinking on that for a minute. What do you mean, Kevin, when you say you are what you eat? You eat from the earth to survive. You eat the trees, the plants that come from the earth, right? You eat the minerals that come from the earth. You eat iron, magnesium. All of these things come from the earth in the form of stones or minerals or plant life, right? When you die, you become the earth. You drink water, which is of the earth, right? You use the sun, which is of our, it may not be of the earth, but it's of our reality, our external reality. We absorb the sun. So all of these things work together to help us to exist, right? Or we think it's helping us, is in like extending us a hand, but we're just saying that if these things are there for us, not that they're literally consciously helping us, right? Because you're not consciously helping the earth when you die either. You're not saying, let me break my body down so it can be food for the earth. Your body just does it. You don't have any control over that, right? This is just a natural part of life. This is what we call like organic knowledge, right? It's internal. You don't have to be taught it. You don't have to be taught to grow. It's organic. It's in your DNA. Your height's going to be your height, unless you do things that's going to, stunt your growth. Or your facial features is going to be your facial features, unless you probably get into like some type of accident or do some type of heavy drug that makes you look differently, right? But you're going to be who you are based on your genetic code. This is like organic knowledge. It's not coming from your brain. You're not saying, hey, I'm gonna stop right here. I'm 6'4". That's good. This good enough. Or hey, I'm 5'11". Let me grow another 5 inches. Like none of us have the ability to do that. So we're really just kind of stuck in this vessel, right? So how you perceive the world is how you perceive it. Even if your eyes are brown, red, green, blue, you didn't choose that. Even if your eyes are 20/20 or less, you didn't choose that either. And so if your eyes are less and you're not wearing glasses, then you won't perceive the world the same way as someone else either. If you're not the same height as someone else, you may perceive the world differently. Have you ever noticed that people look different from different angles? So imagine someone 6'5" or 6'4" and they look at you. They're seeing a total different person than what someone who's a lot shorter than you would see by looking up at you. You understand? So just by being a different height than a person would literally mean their outlook on life can be totally different, especially when they're viewing another person with the description of it, are they handsome or pretty? Because an angle change could be everything. We see people now who know how to hit their angles, right? On the camera, they know how to turn their face to the right side and hit a certain angle, but in person, they don't seem to look like that, except for maybe some angles they appear to look like what they look like. But when you take a picture, you're going to focus it on your best angle, put your best foot forward, and that's what you present to the world. You don't get to see you when you're moving around. You don't even actually get to see you whenever you're actually in movement. Like when I watch this video, I'll be able to see myself because I look in the camera when I talk. I like to make it seem like I'm making eye contact, even though I'm looking at a dang camera. And I'll look down at the comments from time to time, but I rarely look at myself, right? But after the video, I'll be able to see myself, but only from the waist up. The things that the camera was able to pick up. I still can't see the back of my head. I can't see, other parts of my body that another person will be able to see. I'll never be able to see myself from an angle above me or below me because I'm stuck in here. You understand? I can't come out of here. So I can't see the world the way you see it. I can't see the top of my head. So if Callie said, hey, bro, your hairline getting thin in there, that's news to me. Probably feel it, but I won't be able to look directly on it like he would be able to. You see what I'm saying? We don't get the view of ourselves the same way everybody else does. We're in first person view. Like when you play on a video game, you're doing the best you can. So again, the way you see the world is going to be totally different from the way somebody who sees it, who's just a little shorter than you. It's a fact. If I were taller right now, then more of my body would be exposed. I'm not hiding from you guys. I'm just, I'm at the mercy of my height. Figured I might move the camera down a little bit. Listen, guys. So I'm going to talk about something before I get off, okay? First off, I'm 6 foot even, for anybody that's curious. But I don't know if you guys went to www.betheevolution.org and got the I Support Being shirt, but it's still only $15, family. It's gonna be $30. Go get that shirt now, because I want all of you guys to send me photos in it. Make a video with you wearing that shirt saying I support being. Send that to me. That's going to be very important to me. We're going to do a whole movement behind this, and you'll be able to see yourselves supporting being. You'll be able to say, hey, that's me on that commercial. That's everywhere right now. That's me, and I'm part of it. So I want you guys to be a part of it. If you are a couple who's lesbian or a couple who's gay, wear the shirt together and say I support being, meaning that you support living your life to the fullest and not having to be ridiculed for it. Right? If you are an interracial couple, male, white male, black female, white male, make a video together saying we support being. Send it to me. Okay. I want you guys to do this for me because I want people to really see what our mission is about. It's about love and unity, family. I want everyone to know that if you want the world to be a better place and you are willing to be the change that you want to see, we're not trying to close any doors to you. We know that the more of us, the better. You understand? So that's what I want. Thank you very much, Wanda. Ricky had said something that a few weeks ago about, it's going to be Netflix or community fix. We don't mind giving to these other things and organizations. But when it comes to supporting our own, it's really hard for us to do that for whatever reason, whether it's due to a lack of trust, fear of being used, whatever the case may be. We simply don't want to give or donate to organizations. And it could be because, again, we've been used in our other beliefs. So we're tired of it, But again, what do you want, guys? We're talking about moving forward, what we're going to do with this world and the impact we're going to make. I'd like to see us out here showing a lot of religious people and believers that just because we don't believe in their literature, it doesn't mean that we won't get out here and help people. We can do more than they can do. And the reason is we don't have to pray about it. We don't have to conduct some being that is ambiguous, right? Doesn't really respond back and just make up in our minds what they say. We can literally just say, is it meant to be? And what we mean by that is it in our mentality for it to happen? Can we manifest it from our minds? Is it meant to be? And in my mind, it is. I can mentally see us being on a whole different level. I can mentally see us being on a whole different social scale. And I can see us doing that by communicating and being a community. You understand what I'm saying, family? And this is what I want to see from us. By vote. We got about 200 people on here. Who would enjoy having smoke sessions with me? Because I'm gonna go super deep on the smoke sessions, okay? And the only key is, I'm gonna tell you the only key in a minute. Who would like to join me for smoke sessions? Okay. Wake and bake sessions, just sessions where we smoke and we go higher. We literally go into a higher place. Who want to go with me to a foreign place? Okay, little rascal said, I would love to. Okay, yes. Okay, cool. Because I don't want y'all to judge me. If you're gonna be judging me, for using my medicine, then I don't want you on here. But I would like to. I'd like to open up, invite y'all into, my world, and we smoke together, we talk together, But I'm about to give y'all the lowdown on my requirement now. Okay, I see all y'all saying y'all down. Okay. Because y'all making me happy because I really want to do this. I really want to open up and and talk to y'all while I got a blunt in my hand. You know what I'm saying? That'd be pretty thorough. Okay, cool. Smoke sessions with Kevin Wesley. That's cool. What we gonna call it, family? What we gonna call it? Let's go higher. I like that. My only requirement, and I have to put a disclaimer with this, okay? My only requirement is this: that you smoke with me. Now hang on. Here's my disclaimer, okay? I want y'all to smoke with me, but here's my disclaimer. If you're of age and if you are in a place to where it's legal, if you can legally do it, you won't lose your job, and you're old enough to do it. Yeah, I think old would tie into legal. So if it's legal where you are and you won't lose your job, the requirement is that you smoke with me. And hey, I may sip some too. Man, Melanie, that's messed up. You got to hit me up. Because I'll be in Atlanta soon, man. We can definitely have a smoke session. I don't mind. There you go, Wanda. You'll eat an edible. Well, and listen, that means you're going to have to start at least 20 minutes before we start up, J. Shepperson. I'll be in my car because I can't smoke in the house. Or at work. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. Not legal where I am, but I'm daily here. Okay, cool. You can sip. All right. And I'm not going to make it a requirement. But here's my thing. We don't want to take off and leave you. Okay? We don't want to take off and leave you. We don't want to get on that plane and we in a higher place and y'all way down here. You feel me? We done said something that went over your head because we way up here and you way down here. So, all right. So let's get ready, family. What time? What time is best for y'all? For my smokers in the room, I'm gonna give y'all the predominant vote on this. Okay. If you smoke, say I smoke, and then put what time you think would be the best time of the day to do this, and I'll decide on the day. $4.20, duh. I mean, I was thinking that. Too funny, man. All day, yeah, we don't want it anytime, all day. 8 o'clock. Okay. 10. Might be a little late. You smoking now? Okay. All right, y'all. I'll tell you what. Y'all work on the weekdays, right? Because we could do it in the morning on weekdays. We do wake and bake. What y'all think of that? Wake and bake. Say 10 o'clock. And not that I'll just go live then, but wake and bake on Saturday, because that's when y'all, okay, that's when everybody's off on Saturday. We do wake and bake on Saturday. That sound good to y'all? Eat yo, you can do it on a Saturday now. Just, get you change over from sativa to indica, man. Morning worship, absolutely. Okay, so look, y'all saying Saturday. Okay, Saturday, look, y'all Saturday at 10. Y'all good with that? I don't know if Jamal still goes at 9, so I don't want to go when he on. Maybe y'all miss it because y'all be catching some of his, or won't be able to get to mine, or whatever. So I mean, I go at 10 on Saturday. I try to respect all the people around me and what times they go live, especially if they have a set time that they do it, do their lives. So I don't want to, invade. But 10 o'clock sounds good to me, and we can do that on Saturdays. Yeah, I don't be doing a difference either, but hey, I just want to make sure that we're going to be right for most of you guys that want to catch it. And if you can't catch it at that time, all I want you to do is promise me that you'll watch it later and you'll be smoking. I'll be happy with that. All right. And I don't mind, family, for any sponsors out there, that want to send me something, to try on camera. If y'all want to send me any, pipes, blunt papers, wraps, bongs, anything you want to send me to put out here and show to my people, maybe you get you some sales or something. I'll sponsor you. Send me your stuff. We'll try it out, and we're gonna have a good time. Wouldn't that be the life? Like just open boxing sponsor stuff, getting to smoke weed, talk about the importance of life, bashing this, just destroying religion. Making the world a better place by bringing us all together. That would be the life right there. That would be the freaking life. And it would be. Yeah, it does, man. It makes me think clearer, So I live where it's legal, Jay Shepardson. That's all I'm going to tell you. Appreciate that, make you laugh. And we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about sex, relationships, marriage. We're going to talk about commitments. Are they really all they cracked up to be? We're going to talk about pretty much anything that we deal with in life on a daily basis that religion has taught us to look at in a different way. And so we're just going to open up on it, guys. I think it'd be cool to have real simple conversations, just not anything that's die hard serious, but just a random conversation and just let our thoughts fly, right? No holds barred. Well, it'll be open discussion, philosophizing, if you will. We'll just talk and we'll just see what's up. Somebody said get JD off. Listen, that's his perspective, and this is what I mean. You know, I've listened to Bobby Hemmett a few times, man. He be everywhere, but I mean, I like a lot of what he says. I think what he says is intriguing, but I don't think there's a way to demonstrate any of it. But I don't mind him. I like Bobby Hemmett. He's actually one of the first people who was talking about Anubis and Set and Anubis, how those names got combined. So if you guys are not familiar with Bobby Hemmett, check him out. People were asking me, somebody made a video asking me the other day, where did I get that from, as if I pulled it out of my behind. But Bobby Hemmett, he's actually known for his research into the metadata and a lot of the stuff that we don't understand that we're trying to rationalize and break down now. This brother been going at it for a while, so he's the one who really sparked my brain in that way to even consider looking that up even more. But of course, my first place hearing that Anubis and Set were misunderstood by the European eyes, and they were called Satan or Satanubis because they thought they were two, of course, jackals, which they are two jackals. And so you can see how this misinterpretation can happen. But I don't think we have a way of demonstrating is that actual fact, but it's possible. He had a stroke. Oh man, I didn't know that. Okay, I think I did know that. I'm sorry. I think I did know that. Okay, family, listen, I'm not gonna keep y'all. I just wanted to have a conversation about, what is this life? What is it? What is the meaning of this life if we don't have a heaven or a hell, a God or a devil? And the meaning is what you apply to it. Again, religion has taken away your responsibility and it's made us lazy. It's made us too trusting. So we easily give away our frame of thinking to someone else and let them dictate how we should think. And we got to come away from that. We literally have to go into our own minds and ask ourselves why we believe what we believe and see if we can rationalize it. Because when you ask someone to rationalize what they believe and they cannot, this is a clear indication that they haven't given it really any thought. You know what I mean? And it's not rational. Meaning it's not, they didn't go through all the steps before they came up with that conclusion. They jumped. They said, I don't know the meaning of the world, so I guess I'll believe in God, or I already believe in God, so it's safer to continue believing in God. That's not rational. If you had already been believing in the tooth fairy, would it be also rational for you to continue to? No, it would not. We're talking about making rational decisions on why you truly believe in something, and if you can genuinely express that to someone else, or if you can demonstrate it to someone else. And what we're learning is that we're not able to. And for many of you that choose to hold on to your beliefs, maybe that's just where you are right now. Know that we're on a journey. I'm sure there'll be trolls in days to come, and that's okay. We'll just remove you until you can learn how to keep your composure. Listen with the thought of learning, the idea of putting the pieces together, and instead of attacking. Listen, if I buy a puzzle right now and I'm holding these puzzle pieces up, they're going to have a picture on the puzzle, but then that puzzle is also going to have a shape. And when I'm trying to put this puzzle together, I'm looking at the print and the shape. And sometimes it doesn't seem to go right. You can be pressing on a piece and it seems like it would fit by the shape, but it just doesn't. And so you just put it to the side, but you don't chuck it away. You say, okay, we got to deal with it though. You can't just throw it out. And this is what you guys are doing. You say, I got my big picture already. I got my portrait already. I got my idea of what the world looks like already. I don't want to hear no more. But what about this piece that I have? Like, this piece is useful, bro, and you got pieces missing. You don't know it all. None of us do. So if somebody else comes with that puzzle piece, at least try to put it in there to see if it fits. If you discount somebody's piece before they put it down, you're the person that's being irrational and unfair. You see what I'm saying? Try to consider that when you're talking and you're discussing different things. Try to consider that you could also not necessarily be wrong, but you may not have the whole answer or the complete view. So let somebody else come and tell you what they see. You see what I'm saying? Like, my daughter's in the next room over, if I would have yelled out at her and asked her what did she see in that room, she can probably help me visualize what's in that room. But from here, I can't see it. So if I can't see it, I would tell her she's wrong. Is that smart? Is that wise? Thank you very much, J Tokyo. That's what's up, brother. That's what's up. So does that make it wrong? Does it make it wrong? Because I can't see it, I tell her it's wrong. It does not. And frankly, too many times we do this. We lean on our own understanding, on what we've read ourselves, and we deem that because we're not the ones who said what the other person deems as knowledge, then it's not knowledge at all. But what if I told you that you can have knowledge of something and still be wrong? Have you ever thought of that? You can have knowledge of something and still be wrong. I had knowledge of the Bible, and guess what? I was still wrong. Am I incorrect about what it says? No. Am I incorrect about its interpretations? Likely not. But am I was I incorrect about the God of the Bible being real? Absolutely. So because I had so much knowledge of this information, didn't make it true. So because you have knowledge on melanin or knowledge on the laws of Ma'at or anything like that, it doesn't make it necessarily true. It means that's what you were taught, and that's okay. But let's build from that point. How can we prove what you read is true? Can we rationalize that? Can we demonstrate that in reality? If we become people that's like that, we can get to the bottom of stuff faster instead of just sitting here arguing. No actual demonstration, just arguments. And regardless of whether the argument is good or not, if there's not going to be a demonstration, then really what's the point when it comes to asserting that your God is real over anyone else's? If you can't show it, then we are just sitting here talking. We might as well just sit here and talk about how much we can beat each other. You might say, well, Kevin, I'll punch you in your face. And I might say, well, I'll duck and uppercut you. And you're like, no, because I'm going to move out the way and then duck and trip you. And I'll say, well, I'll jump and then kick you. Well, I'll block your kick. I'm going to cut a backflip. I'll pull a gun out my pocket and shoot you. No, you're not, because I'm going to dive on the ground, grab my gun, and shoot you while I'm falling. You will miss. We can keep saying this. Oh, you're going to hit me in my chest, but I'm wearing a bulletproof vest, so you ain't going to be able to hurt me. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw a grenade over there. And we can just talk back and forth about what we're going to do, but until somebody do something, nothing's going to get done. We're just talking. I can mean everything I'm saying, but it ain't going to mean anything. So let's demonstrate. Let's show. Let's prove. That'd be the best way to go about it, family. All right. That is an hour and 43 minutes. I love you all. Okay. I'll see you soon. Go to www.betheevolution.org and please support me on the merchandise. I do appreciate you guys contributing. I would really love to see you guys walk away with some of these shirts. I really appreciate y'all. I love you all. Again, be the evolution, be the change that you want to see, and no candle loses its flame from lighting another. Peace.